Hello there, everybody. Sublime92, aka Nightmare, and I'm literally recording this directly after I've already recorded the previous episode, so I apologize if I haven't actually got to any comments, because at the moment, I haven't even uploaded the darn thing or edited the darn thing yet. Let's just throw ourselves in. Let's finish this. February 25th, 1206 District Court, Defendant Lobby number 2. Sorry, Edgeworth. I didn't mean to get you in trouble. Don't worry about it. This is my problem, not yours. Hope I'm not interrupting anything, pals! Oh, hey, Gumshoe. Oh, guess I am. I'll come back later. No, wait, come back! Wait, Detective Gumshoe! What is it? You got a lot of nerve, pal! Making a detective run all around while on duty! Top it all off, you call me here. I've seen happier people at funerals. I take it Lana's having you run errands again? Let me tell you, this is the last time, pal. Here, she asked me to give this to you if there was a break in today's trial. Evidence law? Evidence law? Edward was talking about this just the other day. You must know the 2 rules of evidence law. Rule number 1, no evidence shall be shown without the approval of the police department. Is that right, Mr. Wright? It seems so. You could at least study some evidence law, really. And I forgot to do that. The chief prosecutor also wanted me to give you a message. A message? She said, if you're planning to take him on, you're going to need this book. Him. I guess I'll need to give this book a thorough read. Evidence law from Miss Sky explains the 2 rules of evidence law. Doesn't look like that book will do you any good now, though. Okay. Oh, it's literally just rules for submitting it. No evidence shall be shown without the approval of the police department. Unregistered evidence presented must be relevant to the case on trial. Okay. All that's left now is the chief prosecutor's sentence. That's where you're wrong, Detective. Huh? Haven't you figured it out yet? Why I'm still sitting in that prosecutor's seat? Despite all these allegations being thrown at me? Mr. Edgeworth. The real trial today hasn't begun yet. What? What else is there left to do? Your credibility's been all but ruined with this forged evidence you were unaware of. And Miss Sky found out she unwittingly caused a man's death, and now you're telling me you want to do more? You've got to be kidding me, pal! You're missing the point, Detective. Lana didn't murder Detective Goodman. What? She merely struck a knife into his dead body. That means the real killer is still out there. What? And we're going to expose him. No matter what it takes. This case has hurt too many people. It's time to bring it to an end. Yeah, definitely. Gaunt's done a very good job at pissing me off. So I am wanting to wipe that freaking smug look out of his goddamn face. Damn it. Okay, I really, ooh, he pisses me off. Court will now reconvene for the trial of Miss Lana Sky. Mr. Edgeworth? Yes, Your Honor. The inquiry committee is planning to impose harsh penalties for your actions. Thank you for the news, Your Honor. Yes, well... normally, this is where the prosecution calls for the witness. But, Are you okay? No, sorry, I got something in my throat. This isn't easy to say. You see... there is some concern that you, Mr. Edgeworth, may have, struck a bargain. You think I may have manipulated the witnesses? I didn't say that. You were thinking it. It's just, you see, everyone has been talking and... Very well, Your Honor. I have a solution. A solution? That being the case, the prosecution will allow the defense to call forth all further witnesses. What? There's no precedent for what you're proposing. Undeniably, this is an unusual arrangement, but a very effective one. It would prove that I haven't struck any deals with the witnesses. Well, Mr. Wright, what do you say? Unbelievable. Edgeworth has found a way to continue the trial. Damn, he did. Very well. The defense accepts the prosecution's proposal. Then it's settled. The defense may now call forth the next witness? Mr. Wright? You do realize this is your last chance. If you call the wrong witness, this trial is as good as over. Defense calls. The time's finally come to bring out the real murderer. You motherfucker! Damon Gaunt! The defense calls Damon Gaunt to the stand. Damon Gaunt? What does he have to do with anything? As the defendant's partner 2 years ago, Mr. Gaunt has first-hand knowledge of the crime. I feel we should hear what he has to say about it. As luck would have it, he should still be in the courthouse. He would also be the least likely to have been manipulated by me in any way. Wouldn't you agree, Your Honor? True. All right. Bailiff, please escort Mr. Gaunt to the stand. Witness, please state your name and occupation.
What is this? Some kind of practical joke? I was just on my way to lunch.
Your name and occupation, sir.
Worthy, are you sure you want to do this?
Your name and occupation!
So, you want to play hardball, eh?
Please, Mr. Gaunt.
Fine. My name is Damon Gaunt. I'm the acting chief of police.
Now then, Chief Gaunt. The court requests to hear your testimony.
Oh, right. Oh, what's with the grim face?
First, let's clear up this SL9 incident.
Oh, you mean that time when Lana's sister murdered that prosecutor? Personally, I think it's been made pretty clear already.
There are still some things unaccounted for.
Oh? Like what?
Like the role you played in all of this.
Son, either you're very brave, or very foolish. You are aware, of course, that the police chief has all kinds of weapons at his disposal.
Weapons?
Sure. Take my testimony, for example. I don't have to give it if I don't want to.
What? Is that true? I'm afraid so. The chief of police has the right to refuse to testify. Of course, such an action carries with it certain risks.
Don't worry, I'm not here to hinder your trial. Just remember, if this turns out to be a big waste of time, don't say I didn't warn you.
Very well. The witness may now begin his testimony. Let's go, you old bastard.
As I recall, Beale and I were questioning him that day. To make a long story short, we slipped up. That power outage didn't help either. When I went into my office, I found Lana there. Apparently, she had already arranged the crime scene. As you can see, I had nothing to do with the forgery.
You motherfucker. Is that when Doc was arrested?
Him? Oh, he was lying on the floor unconscious. When Emma sent Neil flying, it seems Doc bumped his head.
I see. Everything seems pretty clear-cut. If the police chief has the right to refuse to testify, then I'd better hit him hard and fast. You motherfucker, you... The best part is, I can easily just present this piece of cloth just to fucking throw it at him. Or, actually, come to think of it, I could also throw the evidence list at him, I think. Actually, shit, now that I think about it, I think the evidence list is the more defining, like, piece of evidence that I need to throw at him. As I recall, a ceremony was held at the police department that day.
Yes, that's right. I guess you could say I'm a workaholic. After winning his award, Neil was all fired up too. That's probably what spooked Drake and made him run away like that.
Was the defendant, Lana Sky, also present in the courtroom? Or in the room, sorry.
I don't quite remember. At the very least, she wasn't there when Dark ran for it.
So the two of you ran immediately after him, right?
Oh, that's right, but Dark made it to the elevator first. So Neil and I split up. He went upstairs and I went downstairs. I guess you could say he got lucky.
What's this about a power outage?
Oh, that. The elevator stopped all of a sudden and I got the shock of my life. Well, probably not as shocked as Neil when that knife went into his heart, though.
That's not funny. A man died, you ass! Could you tell us what you saw?
It was a shocking sight. Neil and that serial killer were lying in a heap on the floor, all tangled together. Dark was also lying collapsed on the floor.
Oh wait, Dark was also lying collapsed on the floor?
Yes, apparently he hit his head and was knocked out. Next to them were those two poor girls.
Lana and Emma.
Lana was cradling Emma in her arms. Looking back at it now, she must have already known what her sister had done.
How can you know that?
Well, because of the victim's body. It had already been moved.
So that means... you found the body near Lana's desk.
Oh, that's right. I think you said earlier it was my suit of armor that really stabbed the prosecutor.
Yes.
Anyway.
So you're saying that the forgery had already taken place by the time you arrived at your office?
That's exactly what I'm saying. I can understand how Lana must have felt. But moving a body and hiding evidence are inexcusable no matter what the circumstances.
Is that how it really went down? Staring at the witness won't do you any good, Mr. Wright. If you're going to stare at anything, you'd better be... I'm so sorry, I had a stroke. You'd be better off staring at the court record.
Worthy, always the smooth talker.
But which piece of evidence ties Gunn to the forgery? Lana did admit to forging evidence, but that can't be the whole truth. Somehow I've got to link Gunn to the incident. Easy. All I gotta do is use the, let's see. This piece of evidence. Objection! You claim you had nothing to do with the forgery. But I'm afraid that is a claim you cannot back up.
Explain yourself.
Several pieces of evidence were found in your office. Take this list, for example. That's the list Emma Sky drew her picture on. This was discovered in your desk. Not only that, but a piece of this jar that was sitting in your office was found inside your safe. It was found where? You see, Chief Gaunt, these articles of evidence uncovered in your office are both concrete proof that you also played a part in the illegal investigation. Chief Gaunt, what's the meaning of this?
Oh. Here's a defense attorney who may even rival Worthy.
So you admit to it then, that you were involved in the forgery?
Who, me? Or do you mean you?
Me? Why would I have anything to do with that?
Well, you were the one who snuck into my office when you found this evidence. Prosecutors aren't the only ones capable of forging evidence, you know. Defense attorneys can do so too. Isn't that right, Righto?
Objection! Hey! However, Detective Gumshoe was present during the investigation.
Worthy, my boy. Not even detectives are exempt from the law. Rest assured, Dick will receive his due punishment.
What? If Detective Gumshoe's salary drops any further, he'll end up paying to work. God, he doesn't deserve this. He's a good guy. Yes, well, In light of the detective's presence, please give us your testimony regarding these pieces of evidence found in your office, and their relation to the forgery that took place at the at the crime scene.
My. Kids these days no longer know how to put two and two together.
I want to beat this old man to death!
Let's see, what was it now? A jar fragment and a lease? For all I know, you could have planted them in my office! Anyway, you can't prove when those pieces of evidence were discovered. If they were found after Doc was convicted, then they're worthless! There's no reason I'd participate in a forgery. Rearranging the crime scene wouldn't help me out in any way.
Right, sure, whatever. Mr. Wright. Yes, Your Honor? When investigating the crime scene, you should have been more careful to observe protocol.
You do understand that I'm the chief of police, right? There will be consequences.
Oh.
Indeed, I believe I will press charges, so you won't make the same mistake again.
My apologies, Chief, but would you mind waiting until tomorrow for that? Today is, well, you know.
All right, Archie. In return, though.
I know. That place, right? Huh? What are these guys? What are these guys? Telepathic? Do all old men have the ability to telepathically communicate with each other? Will I gain this ability when I become old? I'd appreciate it if you'd stop making these ridiculous allegations.
Yes, you do have a point. You wouldn't have the guts to do something like that.
What? I'll have you know, back in the day, I once broke into a cattle ranch and tipped... Mr. Wright, what are you saying? Are you a cow tipper?
Anyway, you can't prove you didn't carry in the evidence, can you? If you have proof to the contrary, you're going to need it later.
Later? What are you talking about?
What else? I'm talking about when Raito's prints are found. Yes, if they're found inside my safe, they would prove his investigation was illegal.
Never faced anyone as slimy as this guy. He's a dick! What do you mean by that?
This is all purely hypothetical, of course. But suppose I did place those items in my safe. Such an act wouldn't necessarily constitute forgery.
Hey! If concealing evidence found at a crime scene isn't forgery...
I'm not through speaking yet, right? Oh? It all depends on when the evidence was discovered.
Are you saying this jar fragment wasn't discovered in the initial investigation?
It would appear not. After all, it wasn't listed in the evidence list. For all we know, it could have suddenly materialized the day after Doc was sentenced.
Really? Oh, and wouldn't that be convenient? Right? The chief is talking about a possibility, so as long as you can't rule that out, your remarks, however clever they may be, would only succeed in wasting time. Tell me something I don't know!
Come now, Righto! Think about it.
How can you look me in the eye and say that?
Because I'm innocent. Remember? Who was it that murdered Neil?
I'm not sure I care for the word murder here. But in the end, the person responsible for Mr. Marshall's unfortunate demise was Emma Skye.
Well, now do you see?
Really, Chief Gaunt? At the very least, there is one large, very large benefit you've reaped from all this.
Oh? I wasn't aware. What is this benefit?
That would, of course, be the position you have. Chief of Police. Oh. The resolution of the SL9 incident secured your promotion to Chief. That, in itself, is sufficient motive.
Oh, that's a good one.
Huh?
Do you really think I'm that incompetent?
What do you mean?
Even without that case, I was already in line to become the next chief. The resolution of SL9 merely sped up the inevitable a little.
Is that true, Edward? Yes. He was going to be made chief anyway. God!
Be careful when pointing that finger, or you might wind up being the one pointed at.
So that means there's only one possible motivation for you to commit forgery. If you didn't do it for yourself, then you did it for someone else. Huh.
Don't be silly, Worthy. You know me better than that. There are only 3 people I look out for. Me, myself, and I. There, it's out in the open now. Aji, would you mind if I change my testimony a little?
Oh, by all means, please do.
I wouldn't be anyone's accomplice if there was nothing in it for me.
What would it be? Nothing in it for you?
Sorry, but the only person I care about is yours truly. That girl, Lana's little sister, was it? If you think I felt sorry for her, you'd better think again.
You're right. You don't feel sorry for anyone.
Be tough on crime and tough on people. That's how I was raised.
You seem to be lax enough on yourself, though.
Oh, that's a good one, Worthy.
Could there have been something in it for him? Given his selfishness, would he have helped someone out? Well, I guess technically there's only one person that he's actually close to, and that would have had to have been Lana, so maybe Lana? True. You might not help out anyone for their sake, but if it would benefit you, you might decide to assist someone. Mr. Wright, it appears you're positively determined to portray the chief as a nice man who likes to lend people a hand. That's not what I mean! Very well then. Who is this person you believe Chief Gaunt may have helped forge evidence? Is she in here? Yes, she is. I think he might have done something if it involved her. Take that! Chief Prosecutor Lana Sky? The defendant? I believe it's quite obvious in light of the circumstances. Emma Sky fell victim to an unfortunate series of events. Who would want to help her more than her own sister, Lana? And as for Chief Gaunt, he would also have a reason to help Lana if she asked him to. That reason, of course, is self-profit. Self-profit? What do you mean? After the SL9 incident was resolved, Lana Sky was appointed Chief Prosecutor at the Prosecutor's Office. The person who arranged this job change was you, Chief Gaunt. But how would he profit from all this? Well, if you think about it, technically if she becomes the Chief Prosecutor, she would actually have access to a lot of legal stuff and... Huh. Technically it would be a two-way combo to pretty much score almost any case that's thrown at them. He would be able to use the Chief Prosecutor as his puppet. Essentially, he would acquire unchecked authority over all investigations. Do you mean to tell me that despite the Chief's formidable appearance, he plays with puppets? Wait. Oh, you must mean puppet as in someone forced to do this bidding up. Never mind. Admit it, Chief. You assisted Lana Sky in forging evidence. Your motive, to appoint her as Chief Prosecutor so you could control her.
Righto, my boy. You have quite an imagination. Let me ask you something.
What?
Do you have any proof of this? That I controlled Lana? For example, is Lana testifying that I've done such a thing?
Lana. She's keeping quiet to protect Emma. Technically, there is... Wait. Wait a minute! this? Wait. Okay, it's either that or it's this, where he's basically using this as some sort of bargaining chip, possibly. There's no way she'd testify against Gaunt. I'm afraid without any proof, this all amounts to nothing more than just mere conjecture. Unless that is also what happened in this incident. This incident? Which one would that be? Of course, I'm talking about the murder of Detective Bruce Goodman. Ah, there we go. The chief prosecutor has been acting strange throughout this entire trial. Almost as if someone has been controlling her.
Worthy, you'd better watch your tongue. I wouldn't want you to get hurt.
Just what do you mean? What he means, Your Honor, is that Chief Gaunt is involved in the murder of Detective Goodman. Not only that, but the Chief is now making Lana take the rap to cover up his involvement. What? What? Order! 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 I said order! Mr. Wright, you can't be serious. Dead serious, huh? This is an affront to the highest-ranking officer in our law enforcement agency. To accuse the chief of police of blackmail and murder? That's impossible. I'm going to accuse him, goddammit. And I have pieces of evidence that kind of prove it. I mean, for crying out loud. He was in the evidence room at the time. That has to be his number. It's the same number that matches in the safe. That has to be him. Sorry. Your Honor, I was merely reiterating what Mr. Hector said in easier to understand language. It's too late, Mr. Wright. There's no turning back for us now. It looks like he's the one who's decided to go through with this. Can you prove this, Mr. Wright? That the chief, a high-ranking officer of the law, is involved in this murder? I have decisive evidence. Good question. Regardless of his rank or title, Chief Gaunt is just a man. The question is he a criminal? I believe the evidence will tell. I mean, aside from, like, the fact that the pot was in his office, which combines with this evidence, and the fact that yeah, it would have to be this is probably the best piece of evidence that I've got that can kind of point him in there. You know? He was in the evidence room. So, I see. Alright then, let's see what Mr. Wright's got, and it better be good. Show us this evidence that ties Chief Gaunt to the murder of Detective Goodman. Gladly. Read it, wee bitch! This is the ID card list. Yes, the one that shows who entered the evidence room on the day of the crime. There was one ID on the list we couldn't determine the owner of yesterday. 7777777.
Sorry, but there's no way you can prove that's my card number.
It's your number. What? How do you know that? How do you think I got in the safe? The safe in Chief Gaunt's office requires a code to open. A 7-digit code. 7 digits. You don't mean... I'm afraid so, Your Honor. The code was 7777777. The same as the remaining ID card number on that list. Chief Gaunt! You entered the evidence room on the day of the crime! Gotcha, bitch! Order! Order! And my jam is playing! Chief Gaunt, what do you have to say?
Nothing. The defense's search of my office was in violation of regulations.
And I will demand Mr. Wright be punished to the maximum extent of the law. But right now, this court demands an explanation from you about the use of this ID card. Chief Gaunt, so you admit it? You entered the evidence room on the day of the crime?
What about it? I'm chief of police, whether it's the evidence room or the bathroom. What's the difference? I can go anywhere I want.
Tell me, when you enter the room, were you alone?
I always go to the bathroom alone, as I do with the evidence room.
Detective Goodman wouldn't have happened to be with you that day, would he?
Of course not. Why would he be? I hadn't seen him in days.
You hadn't seen him in days. Chief Gaunt, I'm afraid you just undone yourself.
On that day, you had to have met with Detective Goodman.
What do you mean? This trial's purpose is to determine Lana Sky's guilt. No, it's not! Not anymore! No, it isn't, Your Honor. This trial's purpose is to determine the truth. If Chief Gaunt met the victim on the day of the crime, then we need to determine one thing. What transpired during that meeting? In that case, Mr. Wright, I'm going to have to ask you for evidence. Show us proof that the victim went to meet Chief Gaunt on the day of the crime. Proof. Proof that Goodman went with Gaunt into the... Oh, wait a minute. Oh, I know the answer to this one. This. He needed somebody else to help him get into the evidence room. And because he did not have his ID card. This is the only way that he was able to get in. And also, can only be submitted to the chief of police. So... Take that! Detective Goodman lost his ID card on the day of the crime. Or to be more accurate, Jake Marshall stole it. So, Detective Goodman filled out a lost item report. He would have had to give that report to the chief of police.
Yet you are in possession of the report, which means you can't be sure if he filed it.
He filed it. How do I know, you ask? Because he needed to enter the evidence room that day. He needed to? Yes, to transfer the evidence out, because it was evidence transferal day! Oh! Detective Goodman took the form to you, Chief Gaunt. Then, you accompanied the detective to the evidence room.
I accompanied him?
There's no other way the murderer and Detective Goodman could have entered the room. What do you have to say to that, you bastard?
Hold on. Let me guess what you're going to say next. I, the chief of police, murdered Paul Goodman.
Exactly. But wait! The chief didn't necessarily need to accompany him to the evidence room. He could have just lent him his ID card.
Yes. Now that you mention it, fuck you. Did you just interrupt me?
Yes, I did, bitch. Sorry, but that's not possible. I don't even know what he said. According to the record, your card was only used once. Yet you showed us your ID card earlier. If you had really lent it to Detective Goodman, it would have been found on his body. No! Good lord, that electrical body. Chief Gaunt, you didn't! Murder was most likely a spur-of-the-moment crime, for no one in their right mind would choose the police department as a place to commit murder. After the murder, you contacted Lana at the prosecutor's office. Why? To dispose of Detective Goodman's body, of course. You're forgetting, Mr. Wright, that the victim's body was discovered in the prosecutor's office's parking lot. How did he manage to move it there?
I was at the police department the entire day, you know.
And everyone's aware that Lana stayed at the prosecutor's office after the ceremony. Everyone except me, it seems. Still, you're the chief of police. You have an entire police force at your disposal.
Oh, so you think I just ordered an officer to do it? Hey, you! Take this here dead body over to the prosecutor's office. I don't think so.
Chief Gaunt, you left all the evidence we need to prove how you moved the body to the prosecutor's office. All this time I thought it was a useless clue just taking up space. Useless clue that was just taking up space. Okay, let's see. We use this all the time, so it's obvious that it's the best piece of evidence that we use. We've used this a few times earlier. We've used this. We've used that. We've definitely used that once. We've used that. That one's actually been a very important one. We have used Goodman's autopsy, I think once? Maybe twice? I can't remember. We definitely used this because that's how we got that it was related to the SL9 incident. We use this. I think we used this at the first part. Definitely use that. Use that. Definitely use that. And that. Hell, this has been these two have been the most important piece of evidence, and that's also an extremely important one. I think that's like, maybe like the second most important piece of evidence that I've got. And then we... We never used this. But it was brought back by his office by... Okay, I'm gonna keep this one in my mind. We literally just used this one. We used that one, I think, the previous trial. Not the previous trial, but you know what I mean, the previous day trial. I think it was like day 2 or day 3. Shit, what day are we on? We're on the final. Use that one. We definitely use that one. That's been extremely important. That was also... That caused a lot of headaches! Use that one, use that one. Oh! Oh, that's how the body got transferred. This thing was brought back to his office by Gaunt's request, and Edgeworth was the one that had to go... Oh! That's how the body got over there! Okay, so Gaunt called Edgeworth to take up this screwdriver, and during the time that he was getting the screwdriver, the body was planted inside of his car. So he did not even know that he was carrying the body back to the prosecutor's office the entire time. At least I think that's how he did it. How could the chief have moved the body? Mr. Wright, show us this evidence. To move the victim's body, Chief Gaunt used this. If my theory is correct, I think it has to do with this. This is how he moved Detective Goodman's body. What is that? A screwdriver? But what does that have to do with this case? Mr. Edgeworth, think back to the day of the crime. What is this screwdriver doing here? It's here because... I was asked to go by Chief Gaunt, no less. He told me he wanted me to keep it here in the prosecutor's office. In any case, on the day of the stabbings, I brought this back here. After the ceremony ended that day, I didn't plan to return to the prosecutor's office. But you did, because Chief Gaunt asked you to. You mean The body was found in the trunk of Mr. Edgeworth's car. I think it's obvious what happened. The body was moved by that car. The fact that Edgeworth has been used so fucking often, Oh god, I feel so bad for him. Somebody just give this poor guy a hug. Detective Goodman's body was carried in the trunk of Mr. Edgeworth's car. Yes. Unless, of course, you have another explanation, Chief. Why else would you have asked Mr. Edgeworth to transport evidence from a closed case? There's only one plausible explanation. To transport the body to your accomplice, Miss Lana Skye. Order! 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 What's going on here? Is there no room for rebuttal to the defense's outrageous accusations? Think back to the photograph Miss Starr took at the prosecutor's office. This was not a photo of the body being stuffed in the trunk to be taken away. It was exactly the opposite. It is a photo of the body being taken from the trunk. Chief Gaunt, please say something.
I believe your time is up.
My time is up?
Sorry, Righto, but I'm having lunch with the District Attorney General after this. We have to get going if we're going to make it in time for the early bird special.
No! But, cross-examination isn't finished yet!
Remember what I told you earlier? A police chief has all kinds of weapons at his disposal.
Weapons?
Like the right to refuse to testify. I'm invoking that right now.
What? That is not a right to be casually invoked. There are certain risks to be considered. Objection! So you're going to just run away after all of this?
Run away? Don't make me laugh, Worthy. I stabbed old Goodman! That's what you're saying, right? But if you had any conclusive evidence, you would have presented it by now.
Well,
You think I had law to dispose of the body? If so, then show your proof and get it over with.
I'll say it again, Mr. Wright. Damon Gaunt is the current chief of police. This court will not tolerate any accusations against him without concrete proof. Well, Mr. Wright? Your Honor, do you have any concrete proof? No, this... As much as I want this to be undeniable proof, it only brings question to Emma. Shit. Damn. I don't think I've got any. Proof that Chief Gaunt murdered Detective Goodman and made Miss Sky dispose of his body. Do I have any concrete proof? As much as I want to use like the evidence list and other stuff, that's not concrete. That's just... shit. Damn. I'm gonna save. I don't think I don't think I have any proof yet. It's no use showing evidence I'm not even sure of myself. No, Your Honor. At present, I have no conclusive evidence.
See, Udgy?
In that case, this court is forced to penalize you for your allegations against the chief. What?
Here's a tip. Never gamble what you can't afford to lose, righto. It seems that Lady Luck was on my side again today. Okay, Udgy, I'll leave the rest to you.
God, I want to deck him! I warned you earlier, Mr. Wright. This is an affront to a senior officer in our nation's law enforcement agency. What? Edgeworth? Lady Luck, maybe we should have a word with her. Mr. Edgeworth, what do you mean? There's one lady who knows the real truth behind this trial. Lana? We haven't yet had the honor of hearing her testimony. She's been refusing to, though. The lady who knows the truth. Another witness! In the absence of conclusive evidence, the only other method of proof is testimony. But Chief Gaunt has invoked his right to refuse to testify. There's still someone else. One more witness who can answer all the questions. Raised in this trial. Someone right in this very room. Mr. Edgeworth, who is this person? Yes, we know exactly who this person is. Why are you asking me, Your Honor? Have you forgotten? The defense is the one calling witnesses today. Mr. Wright, does such a witness exist? She may not be willing to tell the truth, but we can't just stop now. Yes, Your Honor. The defense calls forth... Lana! The defendant? Miss Lana Skye. She was in the underground parking lot at 5:15 p.m. on February 21st. Her task, to dispose of the victim's body. In accordance with a certain someone's orders. Mr. Edgeworth? The prosecution has no objections, Your Honor. Very well. The court will now take its final recess for the day. What? Is there gonna be a... Wait, what? In 15 minutes, we will reconvene to hear the defendant's testimony. This court is now in Hold on. Huh? Chief Gaunt, I thought you were going to eat.
Listen good, Lana.
He's talking to Lana.
I don't think you need me to tell you this, but if you accept Mr. Wright's claims, there will be terrible consequences. That's right. Your sister will be found guilty for Neil Marshall's murder.
Oh, this isn't good.
Of course, you never support such outrageous claims anyway. Right? Just something to think about. Alright then, I've got a lunch date to meet.
You motherfucker! Okay, if there aren't any further objections, this court is now in recess.
I'm gonna need a drink of coffee after that.
Looks like we managed to stay in the game. Yeah, thanks to your help, Edgeworth. That chief. He's something else, eh, pals? Detective Gumshoe! I'm not a detective anymore. Oh, yeah. Sorry about that. Don't worry. I've already decided where to work now. Please tell me you're working under Edgeworth. Please tell me you're working under Edgeworth. Please tell me you're working under Edgeworth. At your office! Wait, my office? Sure. I'll take the place of that top-knotted girl you used to work with. Could he mean... Maya? Oh, I miss her. Still, looks like we're all out of moves now. Chief Gaunt's done it again. How is it he always gets the upper hand? It's not fair he has the right to refuse to testify. Settle down, Wright. Remember what the judge said? But Chief, there's not a right to be casually invoked. There are certain risks to be considered. Yeah, makes him look guilty as fuck. Risks? What did he mean by that? It's simple. If the chief refused to testify, the opposite also holds true. You mean he forfeits his right to say anything too? Nice! Oh, Emma! Emma! Are you okay now? Yeah, when I came to, I was in the medical office. I've been listening to the trial from the gallery. So she heard everything that's been going on. Emma? I'm sorry for what I said before. No, don't be. It was the truth. You know, it's funny. I almost feel somehow relieved. Relieved? Yeah. Now I finally know what really happened. To think that all this time, my sister was being blackmailed by that terrible man. And she did it all just to protect me. Ever since her appointment as chief prosecutor, everyone who knew her said she changed. Perhaps it was easier that way for her. What do you mean? What do you think I mean? To follow Chief Gaunt's orders. She must have shut herself up deep inside. To force herself to do anything and everything Chief told her to do. That must be why she became so cold. It was all my fault. It's all because I murdered Mr. Marshall. Hey, don't go blaming yourself now. If you want to blame anyone, blame society, pal. Chief Gaunt may be able to fool everyone else with his forgery, but he can't fool my memory. I remember now. I knocked Mr. Marshall into that armor. Well, we'd better get back. It's time for the final act. Emma, why don't you wait here? No, I'm going with you. I want to be there when Lana tells the truth. Let's go, Wright. It's time to end this. Let's do it, buddy. No, I'm not fucking ending it there. We're doing this. We're going full balls to the wall. We're doing this now. Get me in there, now! Okay. Okay, I might have broke every bone in my hands, but let's do this. Now then, will the defendant, Miss Lana Sky, please take the stand? Miss Lana Sky, you are the chief prosecutor. I'm sure you're aware of what is required of you. But Mr. Edgeworth, you already know everything. You know all that I've done these past 2 years. Please provide the court with your testimony, Miss Sky. And remember, you are under oath. We want to hear the truth. Of course. The truth. Lana, no matter what happens, I'll always be your sister. Now then, your testimony, if you will. First, tell us about your relationship with Chief Gaunt. Everything hinges on your testimony. You're the only chance we have to get Gaunt. Let's do it. Gaunt and the fabrication. I worked alongside Gaunt for years. There's no truth to this blackmail theory. I fabricated the evidence 2 years ago all by myself. When I found Prosecutor Marshall's body, I rearranged the crime scene. My only motivation was to get Dark convicted. It had nothing to do with Emma. I find that to be totally suspect. I don't believe a goddamn word that you're saying. You know what I mean, yeah. Are you sure about this testimony? Your Honor, I'm confessing to a capital offense, of course I'm sure. But Lana... If this is true, then that means Chief Gaunt has nothing to do with this. That's what I've been telling you from the beginning. Please, Mr. Wright, you've got to help her. She's sacrificing herself because of me. But what if she's telling the truth? She's not. I know my own sister. Whenever she speaks stiffly like that, she's hiding something inside. Deep down, she's really screaming in agony. Yeah. This is no time to start second-guessing myself. Let's go. The defense may now begin its cross-examination. Let's do it. We'll get the truth out of you no matter what. How many years exactly? Ever since I made senior detective. Let's see. I was 24 then, so that would be 5 years. Detective Gaunt and Detective Sky were legendary partners. I personally saw them testify in numerous cases. She must have been good, coming from the same school as Mia. Damon Gaunt was a respectable detective. That's why. But think about it, Miss Sky. You didn't murder Detective Goodman. You told me as much yesterday in jail. You still don't get it, do you, Mr. Wright? Any testimony you cannot present in court is as useless as idle gossip. I stabbed Detective Goodman with a knife. And... Did you do so to help your sister? Joe Dark was a serial killer. My sister almost became his last victim that day. I didn't want that incident to ruin her life. But what she did was justifiable self-defense. She wouldn't have been charged with anything. That's not the point. She was traumatized that day, all because of that creep. That's why I couldn't forgive him. Lana, So that's why you fabricated the evidence 2 years ago. You say you did this all by yourself? Yes. Would you mind telling us what you found when you arrived at the crime scene? It seems I was the first person to discover the scene. The broken prosecutor award knife was stuck in the victim's body. What? But Prosecutor Marshall died from an unfortunate accident. That's only a situation you dreamed was possible. She's still trying to protect Emma. The reality is, it wasn't my sister who took the prosecutor's life. Fantasize all you want, Mr. Wright, but I'll never change this statement. You mean Prosecutor Marshall wound up being killed by Doc? Something like that. If that is so, what happened to the other murder weapon? Doc was carrying a switchblade knife. Oh. That was lying on the floor a little distance away. It was probably knocked away in the struggle. That's not how it went down. She's trying to cover up her lies with more lies. All just to protect me. So when you found the scene like this, what did you do? After all, this is what everything boils down to. Yes. You broke off the tip of Dark's knife, planted inside the wound and moved the body. You planted the tip of Dark's knife, and then you moved the body? But why? Why would you do that? You of all people should know, Edgeworth. You've always had a good head on your shoulders. My head isn't that bad, but maybe I ought to ask for the sake of the others. Why did you move? Oh, I mean, we don't need to ask about why she planted the knife. We need to ask about why did she actually fucking save. You ask about the body first. When you showed up on the scene, where exactly was the victim's body? It was where you deduced it was, by Chief Gaunt's desk. But the body was found by your desk. Why did you move it there? The reason for that is simple. Let's have the witness explain this in more detail.
Oh, I thought the controller disconnected for a moment. That kind of scared me.
The reason Miss Sky moved the body. The piece of the jar that she shattered during the events threatened my plan. What? Pieces of the jar? You mean... Yes, that wretched jar you showed us earlier. Now, that's a nice jar. Pretty good, though. It's pretty fucking good. Why would you say that it's terrible? I like it. In order to show that Dark committed the crime, I felt it would be more expedient to move the body. So, when you first found the body, the jar was already... Of course, it had been shattered to pieces. If you looked at the crime scene, it would be clear right away what happened. Neil Marshall was dead, and Dark was lying unconscious. In other words, the jar must have been broken during their struggle. I see. What's the matter, Emma? Apparently the jar shattered at the time of the crime was committed. But I have a feeling there is more to it than that. There must be a contradiction here somewhere. I mean... Anyway, I committed this fabrication completely alone. My only motivation was to get Dark convicted. It had nothing to do with Emma. So you rearranged the crime scene. Are you sure you didn't do this to keep Emma from looking like the murderer? How many times do I have to tell you, Mr. Wright? Emma didn't do it. Period. Are you so desperate to hide that fact? You're willing to risk the death sentence? She's lying. She did it so I wouldn't be blamed for what happened. In any case, as a prosecutor, what I've done is unpardonable. There's nothing I can do to make up for my actions. Mr. Wright, my sister's lying! Looks like she's determined to protect you to the end. She insists she fabricated the evidence by herself. There's no way she could have done it alone. I've got to get Lana to talk more. If she's lying, then she's bound to slip up and make a contradiction. Well, I already have an idea. This one. The piece of the jar that shattered during the events threatened my plan. This. Because, like, if it was already shattered, then how do you explain the written stuff? Objection! Miss Sky, I understand how you feel. You committed that crime 2 years ago to protect your sister. You mean the forgery at the scene where Neil Marshall was murdered? If that truth were to be exposed now, the past 2 years of your life will have been in vain. Even so, I am compelled to bring to everyone's attention a significant contradiction within your testimony. A contradiction in my testimony? You testified, and I quote, "The pieces of the jar that shattered during the events threatened my plan." That's right. Do you have a problem with that? It's a simple oversight, really. You see, a message was written on this jar with the victim's blood. Yes, the prosecutor must have written it in his final moments. Exactly so. And this is where the contradiction lies. In order for the victim to be able to write his message on the jar, it must not yet have been broken before he died. He couldn't have written Emma's name on a shattered jar! Unless he's extremely talented. Order! Order! Your Honor, it would appear more information is needed in regard to this jar and its bloody message. We may be missing something critical here. Something critical? Chief Prosecutor, it seems you're as in the dark as we are about the truth towards which we're headed. What? Just tell us exactly what you saw. We'll piece together the information to arrive at the truth. Very well. The witness may now continue her testimony. Jar. Message in blood. Ooh, this is interesting. I immediately noticed the blood traces on the jar, but it was dark in the room and I didn't have time to check it out. To be safe, I wiped away the blood. The fragments were large, so I'm sure I got them all. All I could think about was wiping them clean before they were discovered. You mean you were the one who wiped away the message in blood? I wasn't chief prosecutor at the time. She didn't think Dark was the real murderer. That's why she tried to erase the real evidence. Very well. The defense may now begin its cross-examination. Let's go! Alright. So, the jar was already broken. It's a miracle that thing hadn't broken earlier. It certainly looks as feeble as the defense's case. Hey! Not as feeble as the judge's judgment. You were an ace detective who never missed a detail. Do you really expect us to believe you didn't investigate what was written on the jar pieces? Normally I would have. But it was dark in the room and I didn't have time to check it out. Oh, whoops. I forgot to press that, my bad. So you didn't know your sister's name was written on the jar? No. If I had known, I would have gathered all the pieces and ground them to dust. Well, that helps my case. Lana, you'd do that for me? It seems you two might make up yet. Anyway, I just barely had enough time to move the body as it was. If someone happened upon the scene, you'd lose your chance to erase the evidence. You must have been in a hurry. I was. I knew I had to destroy the evidence before anyone came. This is rather shocking. You're telling me. I'm afraid this action of yours reveals what really happened. What do you mean? If you really thought Dark killed Prosecutor Marshall, you wouldn't have wiped away the blood. What else could I have done in that situation? Lana, I only had a few moments. There wasn't enough time for me to do anything else but gather up the pieces. But how could you see with the power out? It should have been pitch black in that office. A detective is always prepared, Mr. Wright. Even now I always carry a pocket light and a camera with me. Even I carry a bottle of emergency luminol wherever I go. No wonder you got that habit from your sister. I never miss anything. I got every last piece. No, you didn't. Why else would there be a piece inside Gaunt's office or safe? Wait a minute. Hold it! So, you illegally rearranged the crime scene? Yes. I don't have any excuse for my actions. I'm so sorry, Lana. I didn't know. I've treated you so badly all this time. It's not too late. There's still plenty of time to make up. After we've gone to the bottom of this incident. No doubt this day will leave a permanent stain on the history of the prosecutor's office. More contradictions have surfaced in her testimony. Your sister's really putting up a fight. She's doing everything she can to protect Emma, but good God, man. It just... I know what I need to do. She said she picked up everything, but there was still one piece that was inside Gaunt's safe, so she didn't get all of it. I think that's what I have to count. I think that's what I have to counter. She must really care about you. Still, she's not doing this the right way. I think I finally figured out the contradictions in her testimony. There's one final possibility that might turn everything around. Okay, let's see. Blood, so I'm sure I got them all. Yeah, I think it's this one. Alright, so you didn't get them because there was one shard left. So, Miss Sky, I believe this jar conceals a truth even you were unaware of. What? We found the final piece of this jar in Chief Gaunt's safe. In the Chief's safe? But how? I knew it! She really didn't know! There's something even more disturbing about that final piece. There was still blood on it. But the witness just testified that she gathered every piece and wiped the blood off of them. Yes, which leaves us with only one explanation. On the night Prosecutor Marshall was murdered, you were not the first one to show up on the scene. Gaunt! Chief Gaunt got there before you. But couldn't the defendant have simply missed a piece? Objection! You listened to her. She never misses anything. I'm afraid that's unlikely. The pieces are too big for anyone to miss, let alone an ace detective. That may well be, but everyone makes mistakes. Even I once wasted an entire day looking for my dentures at... Have you forgotten, Your Honor? When this witness arrived at the scene, the jar was already broken. Oh. That. There's no way a name could have been written on a shattered jar. Another person discovered the scene prior to the witness. I hope you're not implying this person was Chief Gaunt. At the time, he was looking for Doc downstairs. Besides, even if he was there first, why would he break the jar? The question is, if he did arrive there first, why did he hide that fact for 2 years? Well, Your Honor, can you answer us that? Wait, No! Did the judge seriously just have a breakdown? Wait, I'm not the one on trial here. Yes, why did you have that moment there? I guess he just wanted to share off his own feelings on how he felt about that. Good job, Anna, you're good. Damon Gaunt arrived at the crime scene prior to the witness. He proceeded to break the jar and purposefully hid one of the broken pieces. Question, what is this action called? Fabrication of evidence. But why would Chief Gaunt do that? In light of what happened afterwards, isn't it clear? What happened afterwards? Discovering the scene, Lana Sky believed her sister Emma killed the victim. Determined to help her sister, she sought Gaunt's aid. Lending her his aid, Gaunt helped to create evidence that incriminated Doc, sparing Emma. And therein lies the reason. The reason why Miss Sky became the Chief's puppet. I did it on my own. Also, ow! 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 Oh god, that hurt my, don't do that ever again, that hurt! Please, sis, stop trying to protect the chief. I can't watch you suffer anymore for my sake. No, you didn't. It wasn't you, Emma. You didn't kill anyone. Don't believe anything Mr. Wright says. Defense attorneys make up the most foul lies to defend their clients. Foul lies? Imagine that coming from my own client. I guess you do seem the type who likes to twist the truth. Hey! Wait a minute. What if we're still smack dab in the middle of Gaunt's trap? Is something wrong, Mr. Wright? Oh! Woohoo! There's still more! Yes! Okay. Okay, sorry. Is something wrong, Mr. Wright? Lana may be right after all. What do you mean, Wright? So you do tell foul lies then, Mr. Wright? No! Miss Sky, please testify once more. But if evidence was fabricated behind your back, then Emma's accidental killing of Prosecutor Marshall might also be a lie. But I do remember knocking over Mr. Marshall. Miss Sky, if you will. I can't. There's nothing to be afraid of anymore. This cross-examination may not change a thing. However, there is a possibility that it will, if you tell the truth. Come on. Very well. I'll testify about what I really saw. Oh my god, finally! All right. The witness may testify once more for the final time. All right, let's do this. When I arrived, I found Mr. Marshall's body impaled on that suit of armor's sword. Emma and Dark were lying unconscious on the floor nearby. When I saw what had happened, I thought she did it. That's why I erased all the evidence that linked her to the murder. I had Chief Gaunt help me remove the body from the sword and carry it. But if it really all was a fabrication, Emma might be innocent. Unbelievable. The body was impaled on the armor's sword. You were the only one who saw that. If only you had proof. Actually, I do have proof. I gave it to Mr. Wright just this morning. You mean this? The rules for submitting evidence? What's the unregistered? Okay, hold on a minute, hold on. No evidence shall be shown without the approval of the police department. Unregistered evidence presented must be relevant to the case on trial. Well, if Gaunt is the chief of police, he can actively choose whether evidence is going to be approved or not, so he could easily hide evidence that goes against him. So, what? To me? It's a picture I took of the crime scene as I encountered it. What? Is it in this book? I thought it might be needed. But I don't remember receiving a picture like that. Lana must have known. See, Mr. Wright, she really does have faith in you. Very well, Mr. Wright. Please present this picture. I don't remember receiving any pictures from Lana. Lana said she gave it to you this morning, right? I seem to remember getting something from her then. Let's check that evidence again. There must be a picture in there somewhere. Oh, now I'm allowed to look at it. Wait. Oh. Oh, that's why I wasn't allowed, because I would have seen that. Oh yeah, sure. Thanks for doing that. Yeah, just freaking. Okay. Hey, there's a picture here. Damn. Oh my. This is the actual crime scene. No other detective saw the crime scene like this. Because I contacted Criminal Affairs only after I had rearranged everything. Crime scene photo from the case 2 years ago taken. Mr. Wright, that piece cut out from his vest, could that be? Oh! The cloth we found inside Chief Gaunt's safe. What is this? This is a handprint, isn't it? That cloth, it had fingerprints on it. Whoever's fingerprints those are must be the real murderer. What? But those fingerprints, they're yours, Emma! Why are your lips turning all purple, Mr. Wright? Anyway, let's get on with the cross-examination. So long as you tell the truth, we should be able to flush out the real murderer. Very well. The defense may now begin its cross-examination. Alright, let's do it. Whoa. Hey! Don't interrupt my cross-examination!
Come now, Aji. This is the poorest excuse for a trial I've ever seen.
Chief Gaunt!
What? Now you want to make me out as the bad guy, too? If so, I'd like to put on a word or two of my defense.
Hey, you already invoked your right, you asshole. I'm afraid it's too late for that.
What?
You already declined to testify. That means you forfeited your right to make statements of any sort. This must be that risk we were talking about earlier. Just sit back, relax, and enjoy the sound of the noose tightening around your own neck.
So what? You think I'm worried? Sorry to disappoint you, but I don't need to make any statements.
What do you mean?
The evidence will do all the talking for me. Even if I can't testify, I can still present evidence.
Yes, that's true. Wait, you mean you still have some conclusive evidence?
No, I don't, but someone does.
Zub. Oh my god, I just realized the trap that he just threw me in. I just realized what the trap was. He wants me to present this because of this, because he must have been the one that cut out that portion of the vest because he realized what he could do. He could use that as, he could throw Emma under the bus as a scapegoat to get away with what he did. I really hope it gives me the option because I don't want to present that. No. I feel like that's an incredibly bad thing. That would be falling for his plan. Someone.
So, what's your excuse, Righto? Why have you been keeping quiet about it? You do have something to show us, right? Something that proves you knocked over Neil Marshall, causing his death. Conclusive evidence that leaves no room for doubt.
I'm not showing it, though. Is this true, Mr. Wright? Please give me the option. I don't want to do this. I really don't want to. If I do this, Emma gets in trouble. I'm not going to do that. If I show that piece of evidence now, Emma's sure to be made out as the murderer. Mr. Wright, if you have any more evidence, present it now. And if you try to conceal anything, you will be the one appearing before the Board of Inquiries. What do I do now? I better think this through carefully. I can't afford to make the wrong decision. Should I present that piece of evidence? The one that shows he really killed Prosecutor Marshall? No. Your Honor, I don't have any evidence I can present at this point in time.
What? You lie!
Chief Gaunt?
You opened my safe! I know you took what was inside! The conclusive evidence!
No. I don't know what you're talking about. Mr. Wright, why don't you show them? We found it together.
Oh, I see. It's because you know the truth, don't you? You know whose fingerprints are on it. That's why you won't present it.
What are you talking about, Chief Gaunt?
Can't you figure it out? Take a good look at this picture. See the victim's vest? Notice anything odd about the chest area? It looks like part of it's been cut out for some reason.
You mean you had this in your safe? What? That means you, the chief of police, have been concealing evidence? This is going to be the biggest scandal in the history of the police department. I just made you admit to concealing evidence. You motherfucker, you screwed up.
Impressive. To be honest, I didn't think you had the gall, Righto. Well, I can't just let you pin me up as the murderer. I'll tell you what really happened.
What? You mean you admit to it? Holy shit!
I was the first person to arrive at the crime scene that day. If it then occurred to me that I could use the situation to control Lana.
So you really were manipulating her?
I knew Lana. If I made it look like the blame lay with her sister, that when she saw the scene, she would ask me for my aid.
So you assisted Miss Sky?
I told her to arrange all the evidence. I had her plant the knife tip in the victim's body and move the body across the room.
And I ended up using that evidence to get Joe Daw convicted!
Right happened with the crime scene. I had 2 pieces of evidence. This was before Lana arrived at the scene, mind you.
2 pieces of evidence? You mean those items in your safe? But why?
For insurance, of course.
Insurance?
I was sure my plan would work, but it's always best to be prepared for the worst. I wasn't about to let anyone blame me for a murder that girl committed.
You mean you were calculating that far ahead while forging the evidence?
What do you take me for, a fool? I didn't make police chief by dumb luck. See this jaw fragment? I hid the most important part of Emma's name. I didn't expect Lana to go and wipe the blood off all the pieces.
But if you fabricated all the evidence, what's to say you didn't fabricate the message on the jar too?
Some people just don't know when to quit, do they? That's why I kept one more item for insurance.
You mean that piece of cloth?
Come on, Righto, cough it up already. I know you have it.
What are you waiting for, Mr. Wright? So you admit to it then, Chief Gaunt. That you were hiding the cloth you cut off of the victim's vest in your safe.
Yes, I admit it. I didn't want to have to do that, being chief and all. But it's a lot better than being portrayed as a murderer.
Well, Mr. Wright, what do you have to say for yourself? Just a moment ago, you said you didn't have any evidence you could present.
Foolish move, Righto. You should have shown it then before it was too late.
It's been a long battle. But the moment of truth has finally arrived. As long as I don't mess up here, victory is mine. This time I have to show it. Your Honor, I do have evidence to present now. Alright then, let's see this conclusive evidence. The evidence that shows who actually murdered Prosecutor Marshall. Let me verify this once more. On the day of the crime, you personally cut out this piece of the victim's vest.
Oh, yes. At last you finally brought it out into the open.
There's a handprint on this piece of cloth. Your Honor, the prosecution requests that it be immediately sent to the lab for analysis. This handprint on the leather, there must have been a strong impact for it to be left so clearly. You mean, it could not have been forged. It must be authentic, conclusive evidence.
You're as slow on the uptick as ever, Worthy.
What?
Think about it. Rhino had all this time to present this evidence. Yet he was reluctant to do so. Why would that be?
Hey, fuck you. I got you to admit that you covered up a crime. Your entire fucking image is ruined. You mean you already know? You know whose fingerprints are on that. Mr. Wright, do you really know? Whoever the fingerprints belong to must be the real murderer. Whose fingerprints are they? Very well. I'll tell you. It should be okay now. Everything's proceeding as predicted. The person to whom these fingerprints belong to is... Take that! Emma Sky? What? They're mine? I'm sorry, Emma. But why? Why didn't you tell me?
You're really something, Righto. You knew this girl did it all along, and you still tried to pin the murder on me.
So it's true. Tragic, but true. This girl really did shove Prosecutor Marshall to his death. Hold it! How could you? You monster! Miss Sky? You knew whose fingerprints those were all along, yet you acted like she really didn't. No. Miss Sky, it's not over yet. What? I said this trial isn't over yet.
Ha! But I'm afraid it is over, boy. Not only this trial, but your career too. You purposefully concealed this conclusive evidence. That, my friend, is a serious offense.
How about we reference... Not the picture, goddammit. But, let's just casually, let's casually look at rule number 2. Unregistered evidence presented must be relevant to the case on trial. No evidence shall be shown without the approval of the police department as well. Just casually keep those rules in mind. Just saying.
I'm looking forward to pressing charges after the defendant is convicted. I'll have your badge, boy! What's the matter, cat? Got your tongue? Aren't you going to tell us how it feels? How it feels to be the one who single-handedly turned a poor little girl into a murderer?
You really showed your true colors. Before I do that, there's just one little thing I have to clear up.
Oh, and what's that?
Who really killed Prosecutor Neil Marshall? What? Chief Gaunt, you're absolutely right. This piece of cloth proves who the real murderer is. Who killed Neil Marshall, you ask? It was Emma Sky, wasn't it? No. I'm afraid that's not possible. You see, this piece of cloth contains a critical contradiction.
What? A contradiction? What is this fool blabbering about?
Well, it's a square piece of cloth, and it doesn't look like the cut was made from a square. Like, it's more of a circle that was actually cut out, not a square. So... Oh shit, there's not even any blood on it, I just realized! Like... There's actually no blood on this! It was cleaned! I'm talking about a contradiction. One that proves who the real killer is! Mr. Wright, this piece of cloth, what could it possibly contradict? Chief Gaunt. Your tyrannical reign ends here! Behold! The piece of evidence that contradicts this cloth! Blood splatter!
And what exactly is this supposed to be?
This is the picture Miss Sky took. Take a good look at it. See where the piece of his vest was cut out? Yes, his shirt is showing underneath. It's hard to make out with all the blood on his vest, though. Exactly my point. His chest is soaked with blood. That's only natural. His lungs, no doubt, were punctured. Blood poured out of his mouth. Oh, but that piece of cloth. Not a single blood stain whatsoever. Wait. There's no blood on it. Ah! Since Emma Sky's fingerprints are on this cloth, there's no doubt that she shoved the prosecutor aside. However, Mr. Marshall was not impaled on the sword at that time.
No. This is nonsense!
Now then, Chief Gaunt, let me ask you something. Prosecutor Marshall was not impaled when he was shoved aside. He most likely hit his head on the ground and was knocked out. If so, then tell me, who could it have been? Who could have arrived at the scene before Miss Lana Sky, picked up the unconscious prosecutor, and impaled him on the armor's sword? Then, to make it look like Emma was responsible for the prosecutor's death, said person proceeded to write her name on the jar with the victim's blood. A jar that they then broke on purpose to leave behind a clue. And make Lana believe her sister did it. Remember what you admitted only moments ago? That you personally cut out the bloodless piece of the victim's vest. Ironic, isn't it? Through the very act of creating insurance, you prove that you were the actual murderer. It's finally all over. Holy shit. Whew. Oh.
Oh. That was close, Righto. You almost had me. Sorry, but you'll have to do better than that. I refute your allegations.
What do you mean you refute his allegations?
You see, that piece of cloth is illegal evidence.
Really? Really? You tried to get me to show it off. And needless to say, that kind of counts as that makes it count as being actual evidence. Therefore, it is not illegal, you piece of shit. Order, what nonsense is this?
Illegal evidence cannot be used to convict a suspect. Remember, RG! Earlier, old Righto here concealed that piece of evidence. So then, what's your excuse, Righto? You do have some conclusive evidence, don't you?
Your Honor, I don't have any evidence that I can present at this point in time. And he worded himself properly. At this point in time. Well, that is true. The defense did refuse to present evidence.
At that moment, that piece of cloth ceased to be legal evidence.
But that's not fair!
Did you actually think you could best me in court? It looks like the last laugh's on you, son.
Good God. I'm afraid Mr. Gaunt's claim is legally correct. Well, Mr. Edgeworth? True. Illegal evidence cannot be used to convict a person. Assuming, of course, that the evidence is indeed illegal. Well, Mr. Wright? It seems at last. The time for me to reveal my plan has finally arrived. Mr. Wright, do you admit to it? That you purposefully and illegally concealed this piece of evidence? Or a piece of cloth? No. Actually, no, I didn't. Not really. No. It wasn't, you know. Let's just refer to this again real quick. Let's casually refer to this. Must be relevant to the case on trial. No evidence shall be shown without the approval of the police department. So... And I did word myself properly. So, no. I didn't illegally conceal this. It wasn't relevant at the time. I admit, I refused to present it at one point.
Haha! So the evidence is illegal!
Objection!
Fuck you!
No, it isn't, Mr. Gaunt.
Huh?
It's not that I didn't present evidence then. It's that I couldn't. What do you mean, you couldn't? There are certain procedures involved when presenting evidence.
No, Archie. Don't listen to his lies! He's nothing but a coward! You can't really believe!
Objection!
Fuck off! There's only one issue left to be resolved in this trial. Is this evidence legal or not? Very well. Let us settle this once and for all. Earlier, you refused to present evidence. If you can prove your conduct was not in violation of the law, then do so now. I present to you... Fuck! This is my proof, Your Honor. Evidence law.
What's this?
I've done my homework too, Chief. Indeed, Emma Sky's fingerprints were on this piece of cloth. However, at that point in time, this was merely a piece of cloth, nothing more.
What?
You see, it's written right here in this book. The second rule of evidence law. Rule number 1. No evidence shall be shown without the approval of the police department. I found this piece of evidence myself, inside your safe. It goes without saying, I did not have approval from the police department. Rule number 2. Unregistered evidence presented must be relevant to the case on trial. And here's the crux of the matter. You see, at the time it was impossible for me to prove this relevance between the cloth and the SL9 incident.
What? What kind of nonsense is this? You want relevancy? Just take one look at this picture and...
Objection!
Sorry, but can you recall, when was that picture presented? That was shown only a few moments ago.
No.
He's right. At the beginning of today's trial, that piece of cloth was still meaningless. The person who gave it value as evidence was you, Damon Gaunt. You yourself confessed to a certain truth. Let me verify this once more. On the day of the crime, you personally cut out this piece of the victim's vest.
Oh, yes. No!
It was then that you approved this cloth as conclusive evidence. Yes, you, the chief of police, personally approved this cloth. The only person who could have cut this from the victim's vest is the one who stood before Prosecutor Marshall in his final moments. In other words, the real murderer. And there's only one person who that could be.
Damon Gaunt! The killer was you! No.
I got a little lightheaded.
I knew I should have gotten rid of him. That good-for-nothing scum! For 2 years he's been snooping around the department, trying to get something on me.
Oh wow, he actually made me lightheaded with that. Oh. Whew. Oh boy. Let's not do that ever again. That was all one breath of a laugh, dude. Just saying. Whew. Oh god, I'm sweating.
Crimes are being committed every day, yet he insisted on hounding me.
Well, your crime wasn't exactly petty.
He wanted to reinvestigate the case. He recruited Angel Starr, then convinced Bruce Goodman.
Detective Goodman? Is that why you killed him?
Yeah, that's right. If the evidence is transferred, I'll lose my only chance to find out the truth. Please, you've got to help me. The Goodman turned him down, as he ought to. Still, Jake Marshall didn't know when to quit.
He stole Goodman's ID card and tried to take the evidence.
Goodman came to me that day. He wanted to file a lost item report. I went with him to the evidence room. Then, all of a sudden, he decided to speak out. Oh? What are you talking about, Goodman?
Can you please reopen the investigation, Chief? We can't transfer the evidence out. There are too many questions left unanswered.
He opened his evidence locker, and as he was taking the evidence out, he said,
It's not too late. I'm going to hand all this over to Marshall.
well, to be honest, I was a bit taken aback by his words. I had a bad feeling when he came to see me, but I never thought he'd actually bring up SL9. That's when I saw it. That accursed knife. I couldn't just pull it out.
Doing so would have only led to more blood, making it near impossible to hide your crime.
Even so, the blood was just pouring out. I didn't know who might stumble in, so I hurried to wipe it up. I was worrying so much about the floor, I didn't realize my fatal mistake.
The bloody handprint on Detective Gumshoe's locker.
I used to be known as a crime computer. But everyone has to start somewhere, I guess. I was too nervous. I had no business doing any of it.
Then you put the body in my car.
I'm sorry, I couldn't think of any other way to move the body. I broke your trunk, but what's the big deal? You make a lot more than us detectives ever will.
Leaving the prosecution's car aside, How could you get Miss Sky involved in all of this?
Well, she had as much as to lose as I did if the truth came out.
So you took the evidence from Detective Goodman's locker.
I felt bad for having to do it. I also didn't have the time to pick and choose what to take.
So, you left the jar fragments in the glove.
Yeah. It looks like I was better off being an investigator of crimes than a committer. They all did their best to get in my way. I've got to hand it to them. They do their jobs well, much to my dismay.
Fake evidence doesn't hold up very well upon close examination. You must have known that.
Tell me, Worthy, why do you stand in court?
Me?
You despise criminals. I can feel it. You and me. We're the same.
No. Edgeworth wouldn't kill someone.
One day you'll understand. Oh, believe me, you will. You're just one man. You'll see what it really takes to bring them down once you try to go it alone.
Damn.
Well, looks like it's time to say goodbye. Oh, Aji.
What?
Looks like we'll have to cancel that lunch date. Sorry, old friend.
I'm sorry too, Damon Gaunt. I knew you as you used to be, long ago. You were once a fine investigator and an example to others on the force. I'm sorry to learn that you are no longer that person.
Those days are gone now, Aji. Thanks for all the memories, though. Don't worry, you'll be fine. Now you have Wright here. And Worthy. With these two around, you can't go wrong. In fact, I can hear them already. The melodious sounds of a new beginning.
Jesus. There are two things I want you to understand.
Yes?
First, your sister never hurt anyone. Second, Damon Gaunt betrayed you from the beginning. You see, Miss Sky? You no longer have any reason to keep silent.
You're right. When this trial is over, I'll tell everything. All that I've done these past 2 years, from the time I had Gaunt help me forge evidence up until today. So, it seems all the questions raised in this trial have been answered.
I'm sorry, Miss Sky. I couldn't get you out of all your trouble.
My. What high standards you have for a rookie.
Huh? I can see why Mia thought so highly of you. Who knows? A few years from now, you just might make it to the top.
Aww.
I owe you my thanks, Mr. Wright. Miss Sky. And to you too, Mr. Edgeworth. You've suffered every bit as much as I have over these past few days. Believe me, I know how much of an ordeal it's been for you.
It was nothing. Liar.
I was worried the pressure might break you. And yet, you rose above it all and guided Mr. Wright to victory. You've done well, Mr. Edgeworth.
Stop it! I only did my job. In light of this case, it seems a good self-examining is in order for all of us. Miss Sky,
Yes, Your Honor.
you are innocent of murder. However, although the chief blackmailed you, the fact is you still acted as his accomplice. A trial will be scheduled for these crimes at a later date.
Yes, I understand, Your Honor.
Is there something amusing about all of this? Why are you smiling? Probably because all of this pressure finally was released off of her. Good God! She got to prove that her sister is innocent. I imagine she's pretty much on cloud 9, despite the fact that she still has to be punished for the crimes that she committed. But she's probably on, like, she's just extremely happy and relieved, I imagine.
It's been a long time, Your Honor. A long time since I felt free of these heavy chains.
Yeah, I bet. Well, this trial has gone on far too long already. Regarding the charge of murder, this court finds the defendant, Miss Lorna Sky, not guilty! Celebration! That is all. This court is adjourned. Holy shit! That was fucking wild. I am still lightheaded from my gaunt voice there. God, man. At long last, it's finally over. Emma? Why the long face? I'm sorry your sister didn't get completely off the hook, but at least she wasn't convicted for a murder she didn't commit. No, that's not it. Just now, after the trial ended,
I can see why Mia Fey thought so highly of you. I owe you my thanks, Mr. Wright. And to you too, Mr. Edgeworth. You've suffered every bit as much as I have over these past few days. You've done well.
The smile. You know, I did my best too. Aw, but Lana didn't say a single word to me. I hope I'm not. God damn it, Gumshoe. Hope I'm not interrupting anything, pals. You kind of are. Oh, I guess I am. I'll come back later. No, I'd come back. Wait, Detective Gumshoe, what is it? God damn it. I told you not to finger me back and forth. You're doing this on purpose, aren't you? Making a detective run all around while I'm doing it. On top of it all up, you call me here. I've seen happier people at funerals. Hey, lighten up, pals. I'm only kidding.
Oh, are you here because of my sister again?
Nope, not this time. I came today because of you, pal.
Me?
That's right. I thought you'd like to see someone. Lana! Should you be doing this? She's still under arrest, you know. Well, I won't tell if you won't. God damn it, Gumshoe, you're the best.
Emma, I owe you an apology. It's okay, sis. Don't worry about it. That day, 2 years ago. Was the first time in my life I ever panicked. It was all I could do to keep myself from screaming. All I could think about what was keeping you from getting wrapped up in this mess. Sis. I asked God to help me cover up the truth. I thought I was doing it for your sake, But now, I realize I was wrong. I changed after that day. I had to. It was the only way I could make it through the past 2 years.
Well, yeah.
I knew how much I was hurting you by distancing myself. But I couldn't bring myself to tell you what I did. I was scared. Scared of that you'd look at me with those eyes of yours. I was scared of how you'd react if you knew.
But sis, you were only doing it for me.
No. Huh? I turned my back on you that day. In hiding what I believed to be the truth, I was deceiving you. Sis, I'm such a fool. It took me all this time to realize it. Emma, I'm so sorry.
But sis, you don't have to apologize.
I'm happy now. You're happy?
Of course. You know, sis, I always knew that one day you'd come back. And now you have.
Oh, Emma.
Oh, my heart.
No one can change the past. The only thing we can do is strive to make up for our mistakes. Why must we make up for our mistakes, you ask? Because in so doing, we can find the right way back to our rightful path. And it is from there that we can move on toward a brighter future. Aww. At least, that's what I felt watching the two sisters make up. Mr. Wright? Mr. Gumshoe?
Me?
Thank you both for all that you've done. I'm sure we'll meet again someday. Isn't that right, Edgeworth?
Edgeworth?
Stop hiding and come over here.
I don't want to be part of the group. Don't bring me into this. Where was he hiding? I just came to say congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Edgeworth.
Right. Well, I'll be going now. Get your ass back over here! Group hug, damn it!
Mr. Edgeworth, I hope you don't blame yourself for what happened. We were the ones who acted corruptly, not you.
It's too late for me.
What?
No matter what anyone may say, I realize today that I can't correct my mistakes.
Mr. Edgeworth, that resignation paper.
Not only that, but I don't even trust myself anymore. Chief Gaunt was right.
You despise criminals. I can feel it, you and me. We're the same. One day you'll understand. Oh, believe me, you will. You're just one man. You'll see what it really takes to bring them down when you try to go it alone.
I do despise criminals. I plan to dedicate my entire life to fighting them. But in order to fight crime on my own, I'd need a weapon. It's scary, but I've known that to be true for quite some time now. But Edgeworth, who knows? Given enough time, I might have tried to pull something like Chief Gaunt did. That thought terrifies me. That's why I can't continue on as a prosecutor. Then why not become a defendant? Or a defense lawyer?
Edgeworth, don't you understand? Damon Gaunt and your mentor, Manfred von Karma. We're both the best of the best when it came to fighting crime. But they both made the same mistake. You said in order to fight crime on my own, I'd need a weapon. That may be true, but think back to today's trial. You weren't alone.
Yeah.
You were working together with Mr. Wright. And because of that partnership, you were able to present evidence that otherwise would have gone undiscovered. Isn't that right, Mr. Wright?
Huh? What? Yeah! What is this, a pop quiz?
Come on, Mr. Wright. Show him what Lana's talking about.
Evidence, huh? Something that neither Edgeworth nor I would have been able to find on our own. Something that we never would have found on our own. That's right. There is one piece of thing that he did bring up to help out. The evidence list.
That's the picture I drew.
Our counterattack began with this. You had one half of the evidence list and I had the other. Apart, we wouldn't have been able to completely restore Emma's picture.
That didn't just happen by chance, Mr. Edgeworth.
It's time for me to go.
Mr. Edgeworth.
If you'll excuse me. There are still some loose ends that need wrapping up. Take care, Chief Prosecutor. Edgeworth! What will you do now? Well, whatever you do, just remember. You can let what happened kill the prosecutor in you, or you can let it help you grow. In the end, it's up to you. I know. It seems I owe you my thanks too, Wright. But what I face now is my problem. Edgeworth. I'll be waiting for you in court. Farewell. Bye, best buddy.
I'd better be going too. Okay, but I'll be by to visit soon. It seems we both have a lot to learn and catching up to do. Here, this is a little something for you.
A book on scientific investigation.
Scientific investigation? It's the first book I ever bought. Study it well. Thanks, sis. I will.
Oh. And so, another case came to a close. As for the sisters, I have faith. Faith that their lives have only just begun. And as for me, I think it's time I started on a new journey of my own. A journey to rediscover myself. Well, don't go trekking off just yet, pal. Huh? What is it, detective? There's, just a little matter to be resolved about the chief prosecutor. You see, she isn't supposed to be out of jail like this. But I thought you said it was okay. Yeah, well, it may be okay with me, but the folks at the prison are a different story. Huh? Basically, I had to bribe a guard in order to sneak around for 30 minutes. Believe me, it wasn't cheap either.
Huh? Way to go, detective. I didn't know you had a wild side.
Yeah, well, you see, Mr. Wright here is the one who'll be footing the bill.
Huh? Huh?
What, you think I could afford it with my salary? You gotta be kidding me, pal.
Huh? Thank you, Mr. Wright. You're the best.
Why is it? I suddenly feel like I want to scream. Hey, I got an idea. Why don't we all go pay it off together?
Yeah, that's a great idea. Come on, guys. Let's go.
Oh, that was good. Oh, that was good.
I arranged for a friend of mine in Europe to take care of Emma. I hope she'll be pleased to study under a top coroner. As for me, this affair has pretty much ended my days at the prosecutor's office. Still, I'll manage to find my way back to the field somehow. Then, I'll be able to investigate crimes together with Emma.
Oh my god, I love this. I love this freaking universe. That's God, I love it. I love it too much. No, I love it just enough. I need more. God damn it. Oh. Yaks, I thought I was a goner for a moment there. In the end, though, they overlooked my unauthorized investigation in the chief's office.
If we penalized you anymore, it'd be worse than firing you. Yep, that's what they said. It just goes to show, you can't just shake me off that easily. Yeah, because you're best boy. Actually, you and Edgeworth are both best boys. Best boy 1, best boy 2. There's no designation of the numbers because they are equally the best. That's how it works. Don't judge my numbering. That's how I score things. Anyway. Yeah. Oh! My new mission is to guard the main entrance and take care of Billy! Can you believe it? I've been demoted to a security guard! My partner's keeping an eye on the entrance for me today. I'll show them, though! Someday I'm going to make detective! Yes, sir! Then I can be just like that dick Gumshoe! Hey, Gumshoe's got a fan. Nice. Whew, okay. I am still surprisingly lightheaded, oh my goodness. Oh. Hello! Oh, no! No, Blue Badger! Somebody help him! Oh, good God. I am so happy that I started Ace Attorney. I am so fucking glad, and I can't wait to see what more of this series has in store for me. Oh!
What is it? Can't you see I'm having me a showdown with the steak lunch partner? Miss Star managed to sneak this into me. She's seeing one of the guards, it seems. Well, cowboy, looks like you did it. You even gave Bambina back her smile. Can you make sure Billy and the gang get their water?
Sure thing. Sure thing, buddy. Oh my goodness. You guys weren't kidding. Looks like we won't be seeing each other for a while. As a farewell gift, I put a new meal on the menu. The right way lunch. The top layer tastes as bitter as defeat, but the bottom layer's as sweet as victory. Kids seem to be dig the turnabout theme. It's a hot seller around exam time. Just make sure not to eat it backwards. It actually sounds interesting, like an idea for a... That's not bad. I like that. But oh my god. This entire thing felt like a game by itself, and that was just amazing. Or this entire episode just felt like a video game all to itself. It was pretty good. I'll never forget what that young defense lawyer said after the trial. Let's see, what was his name again? Mr. Left? Anyway, he said he's been doing something or other for how many years? But anyway, I've got another trial to get to, so I better be... Huh? Oh no, I forgot my gavel. Sorry, gotta go. Bye, Judge. Oh god. Oh god. Oh, by the way, for those curious, still kind of looking into getting the 3DS capture system right now, because I don't trust Citra because there's I don't know what's been going on, but I always seem to have suffering from slow. Maya!
Nothing soothes the soul like fresh country air. Still, sometimes I do miss hearing you and your objection. Still, I can't go back until I'm a full-fledged spirit medium.
Mystic Maya! Afternoon training's about to begin!
Coming! Well, see you around, Nick.
Oh, I miss you. But yeah, that's still kind of being worked on, but somebody actually did give me a link to something. I'm still kind of doing a little bit of a budget right now, so I might be able to get my hands on a 3DS capture card. Might be able to, but yeah. We'll just kind of see how that works. I'm still trying to get the budget done first. Mr. Edgeworth.
Oh, Mr. Edgeworth, I brought you your tea. What's going on?
Is that his did he seriously go forward with the letter of resignation? Oh, shit. The screen went dark for a moment there because I haven't touched it for a while. I'm just letting this play out.
Thanks for coming to see me off. I can't believe I'm going to Europe. Thank you, Mr. Wright. Thank you so much for everything. I'm a little sad, but I'll be alright. Whenever I want to see Lana, all I have to do is open this book. Aww. Oh. Oh? Oh, no. Oh, my God. You're tearing my heart. Damn you, Capcom! You're cooking me, babe. Oh, God. Well, guys, that was Ace Attorney. Well, the first game, at least. Okay, I will go ahead and say this right now. That was fantastic. Even though if I did torture my vocal cords a little bit, I did somehow gain a couple new voices because of this experience. And Lord knows I'm going to be definitely going through a lot more, aren't I? Okay, right off the bat, favorite characters? Definitely have to go to Edgeworth and Gumshoe. Honest to God, I love those two so much. Admittedly, I was a little peeved off by Edgeworth's first appearance, but it kind of makes sense because he just kind of seems like a standard edgy rival. But his story just ended up making me feel so much for the guy. He has so many terrible rumors running about him, and he did not deserve any of it. Good God, he did not deserve any of the shit that he went through. And if he really did go forward with resigning as a prosecutor, I can kind of understand why, especially with all the rumors going around about him. But who knows? If that's the case, if he's really going to, resign, I hope that he goes through with his original idea and becomes a defense attorney. Though I'm not entirely sure how legally that would work. I imagine you'd have to go through another set of school or something like that, I would imagine. But, wait, do I have any extras that I can look at? No, I can't, unfortunately. Damn. But, yeah, I freaking love this universe. Playing as Phoenix Wright was actually quite a bit of fun. I liked it because it gave me that Danganronpa itch just trying to solve mysteries and all that stuff. It was actually pretty darn good. And that last episode itself was interesting because I got to meddle around with the evidence, and there were so many new mechanics being thrown around that it was fun to kind of get used to. It was actually pretty damn good. I really had a blast. Although this brings up a bit of a question that I'm kind of worried about. Like, I sprayed the luminol all over Gaunt's office and not a speck of blood appeared on that blade, so that only makes me assume that he must have replaced it in the possibility of there being somebody to see the blood there, so that's the only reason I could think of that why his blood, Neil Marshall's blood, didn't show up on that blade in the suit of armor. So I think he just probably replaced the blade itself. But, oh God. I'm not entirely sure who I hate more. I think I probably hated Karma a lot more than I hated Gaunt. But their equal levels of corruption, it made it so satisfying taking them down. Good God, it felt good destroying them. Although, arguably, I never would have expected. I think I got too into Gaunt's character because, good God, my throat is murdering me, and I'm only just now not as lightheaded as I was earlier. But other than that, I am happy that I started Face Attorney. This was so much fun. There's so many characters. I love it. I do look forward to seeing what the future of the series has in store for me. I think I'm not entirely sure when I'll get started on the next game, which I believe is supposed to be in this trilogy of sorts. I'll let you guys kind of help me figure out like which titles or what the preferred order is, because I want to make sure that my experience is top class. And other than that, thank you all very much for joining me on this little journey. I, honest to God, had a hell of a blast playing this.
and I do look forward to playing the rest of the Phoenix Wright games. I feel, again, I'm going to say it again, I feel so bad that I missed out on this game series, but this is, I'm happy that I finally get to experience it now. So, everybody, thank you all so much for joining me on this. I had a blast. Everything about this was fantastic. Even freaking old bag. She was a riot. But yes, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed this as much as I did. And I will definitely see all of you all in the next video.